Hello, welcome back to another Rissa Chats video. I'm going to sit here and do my makeup and talk to you about something that was on my mind. So I'm going to talk today about starting over from where you are right now. I get a lot of this. I hear people all the time going, oh, it's too late now to do this and it's too late to do that and whatever. And, you know, oh, I've had so much go on in my life and it's too late to try and start again or do what I wanted to do all along. And I disagree. There is such a thing. I think ageism is a thing. I think we're getting better. I think we're all getting better at tolerating certain things. But, you know, I don't think you should allow people to stop you in your tracks. I've seen people at 18 doing really well, and I've seen people at 80 doing really well. I don't think that there's anything that to stop you from doing exactly what you want to do in life. And the trouble is that a lot of people live with regrets. I know I do. I'm one of those people. I used to wake up in the night and think, oh, I wish I'd have done some things differently. You know, you can still think like that and not put yourself on a downer. You can still have that moment of thinking, you know, I do wish I'd kind of done things differently, but you need to make peace with it. I think the way that I made peace with, you know, not doing the things that I was going to do when I was younger, when I was very young, my mission in life at 16, once I left school, was to go to America. I started a job, I started to save up, and I was going to go to America, and I still have kind of regrets that I never done that, and I've never actually been there. I've got lots of friends there, and you know, for me, I think it was one of these things where I left school and done the right thing, having sort of been brought up in a nice family, like a lot of people, you know, was brought up in a nice family, and you know, I'd had sort of a bit of a strange childhood. It was a bit tumultuous until I was about probably 10. And then it was, you know, that situation was dealt with, and I was able to just continue childhood. And I always used to say to myself, when I get to, you know, be an adult or be older, that I would do all of these things that I wanted to do. And I'd say these things to myself while I was, you know, sat in a council flat that wasn't decorated or anything like that. And but I was happy to have like a roof over my head and food in my belly and all of that kind of stuff. And I think the problem is that the world does tend to beat you up, and that stops you from having that positive mindset. And I know it's a bit of a cliche that people go all the time, positive mindset, have a positive mindset. And it's really difficult to have a positive mindset when you're in a really bad place yourself. And I think, you know, as a child, children are very resilient. And so we can, you know, as a child, you can kind of get up in the morning and think, okay, today's a new day. You don't even really think about it as a kid. You just get up and you don't think anything bad's going to happen. You know, even in the midst of a bad situation, I never woke up in the morning and thought today's going to be a bad day. But the world beats you up, and you do wake up in the morning sometimes and you think today's going to be a bad day. I don't know if any of you have read The Secret. The Secret's a great book, but there's, you know, that story in that if you wake up and say you do something like silly, like stub your toe on the bed, then you're in a bad mood. And because you're in a bad mood from there, every single thing after that puts you in a bad mood. And I'm a true believer in that. I honestly do think that you should get up and just try to stay in some kind of positive mood. Stubbing my toe is not going to make me feel like I'm going to have a bad day anymore, because I just don't do that. It's not a thing for me. I don't think those things, so then them things don't happen. And it's taken me a little while to get to that place where I'm just like, I'm just going to be happy no matter what's going on. And it's a nice feeling of, you know, I don't really worry too much about what's what. This thing on my nose just drives me mad. So really, what I was talking about was, you know, there's so many people that have so many regrets in life, and you've got to really, like you were as a child, not wake up and think that you can't do something. I absolutely, even at this age, believe that I'm able to start afresh every single day. It doesn't matter where you are in life, it really doesn't. And I have been in some places. So as I was saying earlier, when I was 16, I had that, you know, ambition that I wanted to go to America. I had people that I could stay with. Sorry about that, that was my cat. I had people that I could stay with, and, you know, I could have gone over there and I probably could have had a really nice time and probably had a nice life. And then I started college. And in the 90s, well, probably still the same, but definitely in the mid-90s when I was at college, it was all Britpop and Ladettes and all of that kind of stuff. And peer pressure just completely got me. I basically ended up in a bad crowd. I had not been raised around that kind of thing at all. And because I was in that bad crowd, I was just doing what they did, which was drinking, drugs, just, you know, just having a crazy life. I actually would go to my friend's house and not come back all weekend and then go to college from there. And, you know, you look back on that now and you think, well, that's really freaky that I went from like this church going kid that had this ambition to go to America, and then all of a sudden I'm back there, and it seems like, you know, history repeats itself in a way. And I think that, you know, if it's kind of something that had happened before for previous family members, and then it happened again in my life. And oh my goodness, I spent years backing and forthing. Like, I want to go back to church. I don't want to go back to church. I do want to go back to church. I did go back to church for 2 years. It was the best couple of years of my life. You know, I got with a partner, had my kids, and that partner was a very heavy drinker. I've spoken about him before. It's not his fault. He was an addict. And so you tend to do what, you know, what's happening around you. And so I was drinking and stuff like that. And it was so difficult because I'd work as well. I worked full time when my children were little and he wasn't working. And in the end, I just made the decision that it would be wrong for me to continue in that life. I've got to try and sort things out. So I booked a trip to Disneyland because this sounds so crazy, but I always wanted to go to Disneyland as a child, and so I decided then to take myself out of that mindset. We're not doing this drinking every weekend thing and just sitting there wasting my life, because on a Sunday I was like dying on a sofa, and I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm gonna try and do something positive. So I separated from the partner, but in the meantime, he didn't know this, but I actually had booked a Disneyland Paris trip. I'd taken the kids to the travel agents, and we booked the Disneyland trip, Disneyland Paris, and I booked it without passports. So I even done that. I booked it without passports. I took a major chance. I filled out all the passport forms the same day. My kids' ones came through really quickly. I had to go for an interview because they do that if it's like a new passport, which it wasn't totally my new one. At the time when I'd had a passport before, they still done yearly ones and daily ones and things like that. And now you have to get a 10-year one. So I'd gone to get my passport and I went up to have my interview, and blam, life hit me. I went to work just before Christmas, December the 20th, and my boss made me redundant 3 weeks before I was going to Disneyland, and I didn't even let that stop me. I was like, right, well, Disneyland's booked. I'm going to budget some money, which I did do. I put some money away, €300. I put another couple of hundred in my bank and activated my card. And I said to my mum, I'm still going. I'm still going to do it, because she thought I was going to cancel it. And I was like, no, I'm still going to go. I'll deal with everything else when I get back. So I literally started over from that one day. I woke up one morning and I went, not doing this anymore. And I got up, booked the Disney trip, and then even with redundancy, I was like, it's fine, just Satan trying it on with me. Not happening, not today, Satan. And I still went to the Disneyland trip with my kids and we had the best time, and I didn't think of a single thing about what was going on at home the whole time I was there, because that's what I needed. I needed to be away from it. Now, I know that, you know, especially in this day and age where we're really struggling, all of us are struggling, we can't always just book a trip and stuff like that. For me at the time, I was able to do that because, you know, I'd budgeted for it and I'd managed to have that sort of ambition over that couple of weeks where I just decided that I'm not having this life anymore, split with my partner and done everything else. So there was that. But I made a conscious choice one morning just to start over, and anyone can do that. That's what I'm getting at. Anyone can do it. I know that you can get up in the morning and be so depressed. I've been there. I know how it feels to wake up in the morning and think, I can't do this. I know how that is. I know how it feels. I mean, not everyone's sort of like, we're not all the same, and neither should we be all the same. We should all be different. We should all be individuals. I've got my faith. My faith's really backed me up over the years. It was something that I found as a child. It's never left me. And, you know, I pray a lot, still do. And so I'd got up, you know, that morning and just said a prayer and continued to pray all the way through it. And I was like, it's going to work out fine. And it absolutely did. And, you know, even in the midst of depression, just to be able to do that for myself. I mean, other people have different ways of doing things, but you know yourself what that is. What is that thing that makes you get up and go? What is it? Not anything bad. I'm not talking about getting up and getting drunk or whatever else. I'm talking about what is that thing that will make you, even if it's something like silly, like or something that seems silly, like having a shower or a bath, having a nice pampering session, making yourself feel good, chucking some makeup on, like whatever you feel like doing at the time, just to pull you out of that depression, because that's where the problem lies. I think a lot of people get stuck in that rut of feeling depressed about things and thinking all the bad stuff, but you've got to really think of the positives. One thing that really helps me is if I'm having like a really bad day like that, I will sit and I will write like 3 things that I know for sure are really good in my life. So I'll put things like, I love my kids, I love my cats, I've got a roof over my head. I know it sounds like a silly thing, but the more you think about, the more you find to be thankful for. And that really does lift your spirits. It really lifts your spirits. It makes you feel like you haven't failed at life. And I think a lot of things with depression is that feeling of I'm a failure, I didn't do what I was going to do, and all of this kind of stuff. I've done that. I've been there. I've sat there, I've laid in bed at night and I've thought of all bad stuff that I'm not happy with myself, regrets. But somebody gave me some really good advice once when I was a child, and I've really stuck by it. And it was my stepmother. She won't mind me saying, she's pretty good at this stuff, but it was my stepmom, and she said to me one day, I must have been 10, 11. It was after all this stuff had like stopped in my childhood, and she said to me, you shouldn't be made to feel bad about that because you've done something bad. She was like, if you make a mistake, as in like a little life mistake, not a huge, great big one that's going to land you in jail or something. I'm talking about a little mistake. She was like, rather than dwelling on that mistake, or rather, you know, an argument or something like that, rather than dwelling on it, just forget about it and move on. Because she said that's what would eat you up. And she's absolutely right. I went through this whole thing of, oh, I should have done this differently, I should have done that differently. And it would wake me up in the night, out of nowhere. I'd be laying in bed thinking of, you know, things from 20 years ago. And I'd be like, why am I thinking of that? I haven't thought about that in years. And all of a sudden, I'm suddenly thinking about that stuff. So I just, you know, made a conscious decision. And I do this, you know, if I'm having a bad day, I'll just go, right, I'm not going to have a bad day today. That's not what's going to happen. I'm going to get up and I'm going to start over, and I'm going to start over as many times as you want. That's another thing. Don't feel like you start over and then you make a mistake and you go, oh, well, I fell back into my old ways. Just start again. That's it. It seems like such a simple thing, but I see so many people struggling with it all the time. Like they'll be like, oh, I made such a mess of my life. I've not done what I wanted to do. I shoulda, woulda, coulda. I should have done this. I should have done that. You still can. You're still here. If you wake up in the morning and you're breathing and alive and feeling all right, you're still here. Go do it. Don't wait until something crazy happens. I see that a lot as well. People get like illnesses and sicknesses and things like that. And when they get sick or ill, they go, oh no, I'm going to have to quickly do this stuff. Everything that they ever wanted to do in their life, they suddenly want to pile it in because, you know, they found out that they were poorly. And I see that a lot. Don't wait for that. Just go do it. Make a plan. Decide what you're going to do and just go do it. And that's my New Year's resolution for next year. Make a plan and just go do it. I honestly hate it when people put other people down. They go, oh, it's too... I had someone say to me once, I was 30. I turned 30. And I had someone say to me once, I was like, oh, I should go do retraining or something like that. And someone went to me, oh, you don't care now though, do you? You're middle-aged. At 30, are you having a laugh? I feel like I just hit middle age now and I still don't think that I'm done with life. There's not a thing. I've had a lot of stuff happen in my life, a lot. And some of it was caused by me and some of it wasn't. You know, I've met some mean people. I've been in situations that are really awful from a kid. And I still, to this day, cannot get up in the morning and feel like that's it. I can't go any further with it. I really do. I have moments on my vlogging channel. You see, I share my ups and downs. I don't cut them out. I don't edit them out. I want to be honest and truthful with you about what's going on. And, if I get up in the morning and I think, oh, I feel so depressed today, I'll say it. But then you'll see on my channel, I'll start doing things to try and lift myself up. And I've got a lot of subscribers that are amazing on there. That we're just, we're all helping each other on there. And that's what I wanted, to build a community to help people. But what I want you to do is, if you're feeling like, because somebody needs this message, this is why it was in my head. If you're feeling like that, like you're so depressed and you feel like you've got regrets and you're living with regrets and you've not done the things that you wanted to do in life, I want you to just start right now. Right now. Just make a decision right now. Just go, I'm not doing this anymore. What do I want to do? Take out a paper and a pen, or go on your notes on your phone, or however you want to do it, laptop. If you've got a great memory, memorize it. Like, it doesn't matter how you do it. Make a plan. What do I want to do? And then you work backwards. So you go, right, I want to go, I don't know, I want to go see the Eiffel Tower. Work backwards. Well, I don't have any money at the moment, so what do I need to do to get money? Just work backwards. And then that way you'll be able to take those steps to go and do that thing. It doesn't need to be anything really major either. You could literally go, right, well, I want to retrain as a vet or something. What do I need to do to retrain as a vet? And you can do it at any age. It doesn't matter. We have mature students now. You're allowed to do that. It doesn't make you a failure that you didn't go to college when you were 20. I went to college when I was 16 and I failed. Do you see what I mean? I haven't done anything with my college stuff. Nothing at all. Not really. I done performing arts at college, and I done it because, I thought, oh, performing arts, my friend was doing it as well. And now when I look back, I'm like, what was I doing that for? Yeah, sure. It was great fun. I had a really good time. I met some really nice people. I also met some really horrible people, and I was sort of stuck with them for about 3 years, and it messed up all of my plans. What I should have done, if I was to look back and say what should I have done or what I wanted to do, is I love history and I love books. I should have been a historian or a librarian, or I should have done something like that. But no, it didn't happen like that. I ended up, doing my performing arts. I had a really good time. It was fun. And college, was in some theatre and stuff like that. It was fun. But then after that, I was like, well, what is there now? you know what I mean? What is there? So I ended up being like a full-time cleaner for a little bit, and then I decided one day I'm going to get into office work, and I had not an ounce of experience. I had performing arts on my CV. I had full-time cleaning, and I'd worked in a pub and a hairdresser's during college. And I was just like, oh, and I'd cleaned rooms in a hotel. Like, that's what I had on my CV. I had no experience of office work whatsoever. The internet was still up and coming, and I had nothing. And I literally just took a chance. I phoned up a agency because I felt that I wouldn't be able to just go into a job with no experience. I needed experience. So I phoned an agency up, working backwards. I went, what can I do to try and make that happen? And I phoned these agencies up, and a few of them said, no, sorry, can't help. And then this one agency, the lady said, I'll give you a chance. I'll put you in as admin in an architectural firm. And this place looked like Buckingham Palace from the outside. I was literally so freaked out. But I went into a whole other world. This was the place where they had company cars. That I'd never seen stuff like that. They had company cars. This lorry used to turn up with all of their cars, put all their old keys in a tray, and then come back with another tray full of keys and be like, here you go. And they'd all be walking around the car park, like beeping their cars to try and find out which new car was theirs. I'd never seen anything like that. We had like a van that used to come around and bring us lunch, and people used to walk through the office with baskets and bring us lunch and stuff. It was the craziest thing. But I ended up falling into that, and office work I've never really left because of that. It's not, it's something even now, like looking for positions at the moment, it is all office work. And now I've got an ambition to work in London before I leave the area that I'm in, because eventually we're going to be moving out of the area. And basically I started applying for London jobs, and now I've got this. I did fail one. She said, see, I don't let that knockback really hurt me. She said, the lady HR phoned me and said, well, look, you've not been successful with the job that you applied for originally. However, they liked you. They want to put you forward for 2 other jobs. So rather than me sit there and feel bad about it this time, which I have done before, I have had a really bad experience with a job where I was really excited to go back to work, and they gave me the job and then told me the day after that the job had fallen through. And that was really, really devastating and sad, because I was really looking forward to it. But now when I look back, I'll go, well, that wasn't the job for me. That is not what was meant to happen. Your life path is really weird. But I can tell you this is something that I've figured out over the years, and I want, if you're younger especially, and I want my kids to be able to see this video, because, both of my kids are doing quite well. I'm quite happy with what they're doing. But both had to go through a bit of a time in order to get to this place. And I've really sort of got to this point now where, I'm really proud of what they're doing, and they're very different to the way I was. And the reason for that is because I brought them up differently in that respect. So I wanted them to always feel like they had that ambition, that they could go and do something else. And, for me, for me now, and just something that I just wanted to put out there is, not just starting over from here, but it's pretty much one of those things where I really want them to know that they can do anything that they want, and that nobody can stop them from doing that. And it was something that I had to learn up until now, that nobody can actually stop you. I think that a lot of kids these days, they get told, oh, you can't do that. Oh, that's not a proper job. Oh, that's not... Who says it's not a proper job? Who says that? Someone told me once that making my dolls wasn't a proper job, and yet it kept me afloat for 10 years. So, it's ridiculous that people put people down all the time. It really is. It drives me insane that people think that it's okay to just put people down and make them feel like they can't do something. You can do anything that you want to do. The world is out there. How do you think other people do it? Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine being Elon Musk and PayPal starting, and someone saying, well, That's never going to take off. An online payment platform, that's never going to... The reason that he's as rich as he is because he didn't listen. That's it. Why are you listening to other people? I honestly do believe as well that your group, the group that you're in, the group of friends, that can also sort of cause things to go one way or the other. And there's something that I've really learned, which is what I was getting to just a little while ago. There's something that I've learned, and it's taken me a long time to learn it. And I want, if somebody young watches this, I really want you to know that if you always make the right choices, if you always choose the right, if you always lead by example, you'll get anywhere in life that you want to. It's as simple as that. Make a choice, make a plan, work backwards. So this is where I want to be. It doesn't matter what, like, the world is yours. Whatever you want to do. I want to be an astronaut. How do I become an astronaut? And then work backwards. How am I going to get to that bit? How am I going to get to that stage? I just don't really, now at this age now, I'm like, it's taken me a long time to learn it, but I really do want people to succeed. I'm one of those people that wants everyone to succeed. I want everyone to be happy, because if we're all happy, the world's going to be a nice place, right? It's as simple as that. It's one of these sort of things where if everyone was like that, then it would be a great thing. Of course, you're going to sometimes get people in the world that are not nice. That is part of the world. But it doesn't mean to say that you're going to be around that. Pick your dream, whatever it is, and do it. I know someone who's going to watch this video, and I know that she has a dream to write a book, and she's in a situation at the moment where it's not great with her employment, and we talk all the time about it. But I would like her to watch this and know, and this is for you, you know who you are, and know that you can start writing that book now. And I guarantee it will be a #1 bestseller. I know it will. I just feel it. And I think that, you know, if you've got that in you, that ambition to just get up in the morning and go, do you know what? I'm not going to be depressed today. I am going to make a plan. It will make you feel better. It really will. And then what you're supposed to do is do something every day for that plan. My plan at the moment is I want to work in London before I move. So what I've done was I started applying for London jobs, and then I worked backwards with how am I going to be able to do that. Well, first of all, we're going to apply for jobs in London because that's what I wanted to do. And then I'm going to, okay, my CV needs a redo. So I'd redone my CV. So I started to do that so I could apply for jobs in London. Then, I had to do these tests and things, like assessments. Done the assessments, got that done a bit of research into the companies. Like, I just worked my way backwards, and now I'm hoping, I mean, I've not got anything yet, but I'm hoping that it's coming. In actual fact, I'm not hoping, I know it's coming, because I'm putting the work in. I made a plan, I worked backwards, and I'm putting in the work, and I will get it. And even then, I've had people say to me, oh, London. I've had a couple of people say, oh God, London, yeah, you get sick all the time on the trains. Oh, commuting is terrible. Well, I live right by London, so I'm fully aware that commuting is terrible. My daughter lived there, and I used to get on the train when the commuters were going up there. I know how awful it is. It's just one of the perks of the thing, isn't it? It's one of those things. You have to do that in order to be able to work up there. I'm not fazed by that stuff. And the illness on the train was a funny one, because I was like, I'll just get some First Defence. Stick some First Defence spray in my nasal passage. I'll be fine. So yeah, don't let anyone knock you back. And if you are feeling down and depressed and upset about life or whatever, I want you to get up. I want you to get your pen and paper, or however you want to do it. Write down your dream. I don't care how old you are either. I couldn't care less if you're 18 or 83. I really don't care. You can still do it. It doesn't matter. Just start where you are. That's it. Start over exactly where you are. Right, that's it from me, because I've been waffling on for half an hour. I hope this helps someone, and I'll see you on the next one.